What is up, everybody? It is your boy Farai. Thank you once again for tuning in to another, question and answer. Write in the comments what we should call this section, you know what I mean? Just the video type. Question and answer, I guess that's what I call it. But yeah, man, thank you once again for tuning in. Make sure to smash that like button if you enjoy these videos, and I will try continuing answering all the questions that I can regarding FL Studio, rap vocal mixing, or vocal mixing in general, and just studio life. If you have any questions regarding that, feel free to drop a comment right below. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So the first question comes from Talia, and she says, I think a more in-depth video on mixing the beat would be helpful. And I think that is true. I think as time goes on, more and more people are mixing their vocals to 2-track instrumentals, and it is very important that your beat sounds as good as possible. If you don't have the stems, obviously, you need to be able to work with mixing a 2-track. Now, my best tip, first off, is to turn the beat down just a little bit, so that way you have headroom to actually record your vocals. What you can always do then is, for example, let's say you turn down the beat by 4 dB, you can then lift the volume on the master channel 4 dB. And then, mix and record your song that way. So you're still listening to what the song would sound like at a mastered level, but the level has been dropped. A great plugin to mix your 2-track instrumentals is definitely an SSL type plugin. A good one, for example, like the Waves SSL channel, will have an input and an output gain. I personally use the SSL Duende or native, whatever you want to call it. You'll see it in a lot of my videos, and what I like to do is turn the beat down 3 dB, 4 dB, maybe even up to 9 dB depending on how loud the beat is, and then from there on out what I'll do is some basic EQ. For example, a good trick to EQ your rap instrumentals or any sort of instrumental would be to dip a bit of 200 Hz and then boost 50 Hz. You could do maybe a nice shelf from 2000 kilohertz and just boost the highs just a little bit. Maybe do a dip around the mid-range so that you have space for your vocal. Mess around, but definitely use a reference, for example, like a good Juicy J type song or whatever that has been mixed well, so that you can kind of hear what your beat should be sounding like. I think it is important to do a bit of mixing to the beat if you don't like the quality of it before you actually start mixing the vocals, because that way you actually have a end goal, you know what I mean? You can know, okay, well my vocals are going to sound good on this beat because I've mixed it as best as I can, you know what I mean? So play around with that and see your outcomes get better, hopefully. Alright, next question. Mr. Best asks, hi, I have watched many of your videos. I have a question. Can you do more mixing and mastering on vocals with useful FL plugins? And yeah, I've done a couple stock videos or stock plugin videos. Definitely the best plugins which I recommend for mixing vocals are the standard plugins. Your Fruity Parametric EQ2 is one of the most important. Obviously, if I only had one plugin, I would just use the Fruity Parametric EQ2 because you can do a lot with it. Second to that is the FL compressor, Fruity compressor. You can just compress your vocals. It's stock standard. The FL limiter as well is pretty good. Mess around with the Fruity Reverb 2. These are plugins that are just nice and basic to learn on, you know what I mean? Now, the only reason I get into using plugins that aren't stock is because I want a certain sound out of them. So for example, if I want an SSL sound, I'll go for an SSL style plugin. But if you're just getting into mixing, definitely use the stock stuff. I used the stock stuff for years before I actually started to learn about different types of gear. But it is also very important to learn about different types of gear, because that way you can learn the history behind these pieces of gear, and you become a better audio engineer via that. So balance the two worlds. Know that A, stock plugins are all that you really need, and B, learning about the history and heritage of audio in general is really going to help you and your perception when it comes to mixing and your approach to mixing. So hopefully that helps. Alright, 11 asks, hey dude, what do you call that 808? Any free sample packs that include those kind of 808s? And he's referring to the Xavier Wolf Cloud Rap vocal effect I did. Now, I obviously didn't make the beat, but for all the beat makers out there, I would highly recommend going on to just type in reddit/drumkits or reddit/r/drumkits for the actual link. It'll be in the description. There you can find all the best sample packs. Obviously, don't go for the stolen sample packs. The government is watching you.
We got him.
But yeah, you'll find tons of free sample packs that people have compiled with all of the best sounds, different categories. So for example, you can have your trap packs. Many of the 808s out today are duplicate packs, man, from 2003 and 2004. But once in a while, you'll find something new. But as a beat maker, collect good samples. That way, every time you're making beats, you can have those sounds, at hand and make better beats. So hopefully that answers your question. Alright, so this question is from Swiss Music, and he says, supporting since day one. And yeah, I would just like to take the time to say thank you to everyone who's been like watching, these videos since 1K subscribers, even before that. I've been seeing some of the names in the comment section, man. Johnny J, Swiss Music, Royal Music, a lot of people, man, that have truly been helping me, just continue uploading, man, and that is a blessing, so I'd just like to say thank you to y'all, man. Scotta. Alright, so here's a question from Lil Rob Forever, and he asked, in my old setup, he asked, why are your monitors upside down? So that is in my old studio, I had my Yamaha HS8s upside down, and that's not something you would usually see. But the more you learn about sound and speaker placement, the more you need to understand that, your tweeters, right, which are right there, obviously everything's opposite, so it's a bit hard for me to aim, but your tweeters have to be in line with your ear, alright? So sometimes you'll get in a predicament where your tweeters might be hitting your head right there, and it might make more sense to turn them upside down. If you have your tweeters in line with the ears, you're going to get a really crisp and clearer sound, much better than if your tweeters were over here, you know what I mean? So it might look silly to put your speakers upside down, but it is much better than turning your speakers to the side if your speakers are not made to be on the side. Now you can see these Yamaha NS10s have been made to be put on the side, so that's when you can put the speakers on the side. Mess around, one thing that I recommend people to do is Google the Gearsluts forums, man. There's a website called Gearsluts where you can learn all sorts of things, from speaker placement to room treatment to, the sound of different compressors and that kind of thing. So check out Gearsluts for more info on, really just diving into the audio industry and learning about the culture of audio. Yeah. Alright, so Jimmy Yayo asks, I'm having a problem with the beat from the headphones being recorded with the vocals. Alright, I get what he's saying. So the only answer to that question is stop having your beat in your vocals so loud. You're going to damage your hearing if you're listening to your beat that loud. Now obviously I know some artists like that, and it is what it is. That question was from the NoiseGate video, so yes, sure, that will help a little bit, but this comes down to what we call gain staging. Alright, you want to make sure that your recording setup is as flawless as possible, so that way you don't have to deal with issues later on down the line of having to remove the beat from your vocal. You want your vocal to sound good, that way you don't have to suffer when it comes to mixing later. So one tip that I've learned, man, is to record as if that is what your mastered track is going to sound like, so that way when you start mixing, all you're really doing is adding taste effects to your vocals. Maybe you're doing a bit of mid-range reduction, low mid reduction to get rid of some of the mud from your vocal. It is what it is. If you have a bassy voice like mine, I usually do a bit of 250 cut, but definitely try and set up your microphone levels and your beat level through your headphones so that you don't have to deal with that later. That is the best tip that I was told early on, so try that out. Alright, this comment comes from Shoot Fire Out of My Eyes, and he says, FL Chan is the best hype girl. Yes, shout out FL Chan forever. Alright, so this question comes from Aston, I don't know how to say your surname. For the delay to be working in your favor on your vocals, do you need the BPM to be set to the correct BPM of the beat? Yes, so I'll get a bit in depth here. When you set up your projects within FL Studio, it is very important to know the BPM of your beat before even dragging it in, before even recording anything, because FL is pretty dodgy when it comes to recording vocals, so you really need to take precaution with what you do before you actually start. So my method of finding the BPM of a beat is downloading. You'll find it in every single link in my description of any video I have. There's a piece of software called Mixmeister BPM Analyzer. So what you want to do is, once you have your beat purchased or downloaded, whatever, you drag it into Mixmeister, and then you can check the BPM value. So for example, if it is 140, what I like to do is set it in FL at 70, because obviously 140 divided by 2, I prefer to work it and mix it halftime. So you will set your BPM either to 140 or 70, and then drag your instrumental in, and that way then your beat will be lined up. Now if your beat is in MP3 format, there'll be a little bit of noise at the beginning of the beat. What you want to do is, you want to double click on the beat and then go to the trim function and turn the trim function up, and it'll push the beat to 0 bars, you know what I mean? So that way when the kick drum hits, it is in line, when the snare hits, it is in line, and from there on out you can then start setting your BPM up, and it'll line up, you know what I mean? So for a lot of people who might use a template of mine, I'd usually leave the BPM of the beat, so if it's at 80 BPM and your beat is at 90 BPM, the delay is not going to be synced up. So it's important to set up your delay before even recording your track. So hopefully that comment helps. Next comment comes from Just Smoke. Can't I just double the sample of the vocal? Take and pan those left and right. That's what I've been doing, saves me time from recording extra takes. Now when it comes to recording doubles, you can do whatever you want, but for me personally, I enjoy re-recording doubles, because that way it adds a uniqueness and fullness to the song that you can't get from duplicating your main vocal. You know what I mean? You're gonna get a bit of phase issues as well, and it's just not gonna sound to me natural. You know, if you listen to a lot of Gucci Mane tracks, Gucci Mane in Trap God 3, Trap God 4, you can hear how well he is at having a main vocal and then recording a left channel and a right channel, and then just blending those into the side, especially on choruses. It just adds this kind of cool dimension and kind of euphoric effect that you can't get anywhere else. R&B singers are known for doing this as well. So it has always traditionally been done. It is something that definitely takes more time, but if you have the time to do it because your music is going to benefit from it. So hopefully that makes sense. Alright, comment from RFL, and he says, do you record with the effects on first, or do you record them and then put them on? So I'm personally someone who likes to record with effects on. That's why with my templates you'll see I create what I call a mic input channel. Now that's going to be the channel that I add my microphone to and then record that channel with no effects on it. But what I'll do is I'll send that mic input channel to a vocal chain, and that way I can listen to what my voice is going to sound like pretty much mixed. I will obviously sometimes turn the EQ off just so I can hear if the microphone is balanced well with the instrumental. But other than that, I will be recording listening to autotune. I will be recording listening to reverb and delay, because that is just what the vibe should be like. If you watch the Seth Firkins or listen to the Seth Firkins Sound on Sound interview where he talks about mixing Future's vocals, Future is at his best when he's listening to the autotune and listening to the reverb and delay in real time, because that way you get that vibe and it just kind of sets your vocal into the beat and it just hits different. So, you know, if you're into that, try it out. My personal opinion is yes, I will record with effects on. Some people don't like to, they find it distracting. I personally love it, so check that out. A Cox, I guess, asks, autotune has joined the chat, Real Voice has left the chat. Yes. Yo, we'll call you. Bro, is there a way to hear yourself in FL Studio with effects while recording, but get your recorded track raw without effects? Yes. So as I said before, record a mic input channel and then route that channel to a vocal chain, so that way you can hear all the effects but not actually record them. I will do a video if you guys want kind of going more in depth on that. Dom Dover asks, hey Farai, love the videos you put out, and I'm happy to subscribe. I had a question. How do I make the beat on my FL Studio look like yours? The biggest life hack. So what you want to do is, I'll pull this up on the screen right now because it is a bit hard to explain, but double click on your instrumental. You can do this with any file in FL Studio. I just do it because it kind of reminds me of working in Pro Tools. But what you want to do is double click on it, open up the channel settings or whatever it's called, and then right click on the wave file, and then boom, the settings should be on the screen right now because I forget what it's called. It's called multi-channel view or something, but that is just pretty much my life hack. Alright, High Intel asks, which version of FL do you use? Awesome videos. So I personally use FL Studio 20.0.3. In my opinion, that has worked on all three of the computers that I record with FL Studio on. If I was to use FL Studio 12, I would record with FL Studio 12.1.3. Those are, in my opinion, the best versions of FL to ever come out. I've tested all of them, and to me they work because the latency is not too messed up, and in FL 12 it's just the most solid version when it comes to recording vocals. So that is my answer. Okay, Zach Dar asks, yes, this is the video we all wanted, aha. Also, could you give some tips or even make a video on punk rap vocal delivery? That would be cool. That is actually a damn good idea. I'm sure only a few people will be interested in this, but for my kind of tips and tricks right now, I would say listen to more punk rock music. You know, that way you're going to really hear where this vocal tone and delivery comes from. You know, there's a certain style and tone that you have to have when it comes to making these types of tracks. As I said, you know, a year or two ago, you know, Juice WRLD has got that sound nailed down to perfection, you know, because you can hear he listens to all of the bands that, you know, we might have grown up listening to. You know, I recommend playing a game called Burnout 3 because it just had such an amazing playlist, and that's what got me into punk rock, as well as just music in general. So, you know, definitely immerse yourself in the genre and then cross the two, and you know, you can make great music. So hopefully that makes sense. Alright, MS Beats asks, why don't we have the autotune set to 2 or really fast? Is it because you're mostly rapping and not singing? So I think that was in reference to the Young Thug vocal effect I did recently, or the how to mix rap vocals like a pro, or trap vocals like a pro, my bad. And yes, so your autotune retune speed, for those who don't know, so 0 would mean your autotune is really fast, and going towards, you know, a higher value will mean that the autotune isn't as aggressive, so it's not as T-Pain sounding. Now, You know, when it comes to rapping, I wouldn't set it very much more than like 10, but if you are doing more melodic style rap and you want that auto-tune sound, between 7 and 2 is going to give you a really great sound. So mess around with that. Also mess around with the humanize, because the humanize is going to kind of affect how that retune speed sounds. You know, this is for people using Antares auto-tune. For those without, just mess around with the retune speed or the pitch correction amount, and you know, see what works best for you. If it sounds like it's not good, it's not good, obviously. If it's dragging too much, I don't like that. I want it to sound good with my voice, so mess around with that. So yeah, that is all the questions that I have for today. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. This one might be a bit longer than usual. Feel free to ask questions below. Check out my web store if you do enjoy good vocal sounds. And I'll see you in the next video. You know, drop a comment just to say what's up so I know you're there. Until next time, peace out.